Good morning, FlatsClass YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Why am I standing out here by my gate? Well, I've got chores to do today. It's the weekend, and when you own a big yard, there's always a lot to do. But I told Blondie I'd get to my chores just as soon as I got this YouTube video done. And that YouTube video today is going to be on Solunar tables, Solunar periods. Do they matter? Do they work? Should I be paying attention to them? And the short answer is, hell yes, you need to pay attention to them. I mean, it's a huge advantage for you. And this is why. Let's go over to the tailgate, talk about it. Okay, why are Solunars important? Well, let me say this first. You've got to correlate these Solunar periods, these windows of opportunity. And what is a Solunar period? It's usually when you have, it's the lunar pull on the Earth's water. So at certain points of the day, the moon will either rise, or it'll be setting, or it'll be overhead, or it'll be completely underfoot. And depending on that relationship where the position of the sun is, that's why they call it Solunar, because it's solar and lunar, it has a dramatic effect, almost like a magnetic field, if you will, on fish and animals to get up and feed or move about. So, and I know it sounds like hocus pocus, but it's not. So what I typically do is I try to correlate what's the weather doing and what's the tides doing. Because generally speaking, those two factors are more important than the Solunar period, for sure. So I don't want you planning your day or not planning your day of fishing now based off just the windows of Solunar activity. So you've got to factor weather. You got to factor, hey, is the wind going to be such an issue today that it's going to alter the strength of the tide? Is the barometer super high and steady and it's going to quash my bite? And then you're going to be out fishing your Solunar period. You're going to be like, oh, well, I think Captain CA steered me down the wrong path because I'm not catching any damn thing today. That's why you have to have these other factors seriously considered when you do this type of fishing around the Solunar windows. But I'm talking arbitrarily about nice stable weather with a nice stable or falling barometer, and you have a typical tide day. Now, tides, for the most part, other than the weather, are super important. That, you want to make sure you're fishing the right part of the tide. In certain areas, like a big, shallow flat, which I'm known to do because I'm a technical poling skiff waterman, the best part of the tide would be the middle third of the tide where you have the most horizontal flow. So in that part of the tide, and a Solunar period's coming up, I'm going to want to be in one of my confidence spots. If you're fishing an area like the backcountry, a river, a creek, a pass, somewhere where the tide in the middle third, especially on a larger moon, a dark moon or a bright moon, might be a lot stronger. Now, the middle third of the tide is probably too strong and harder to present a lure or a natural bait to get a bite. So you're more apt to focus your attention on those zones, maybe at the bottom of the tide or the very top of the tide. Not slack, but on those changes. What you're going to notice about Solunar periods is a lot of them time out on those tide changes, which directs you to fish to those pinch down spots, whether that be a pass or an inlet, or whether that be a creek, a river, backcountry channels, things like that. Or if you're fishing a flat, vice versa. But for me, when I know fish on bigger moons, like we're coming off a bright moon right now, I have a client tomorrow. I know that we're on the backside of a bright moon. Full moon was just yesterday. So I'll be on the second day past the moon. I know the fish likely will not feel like doing much tomorrow. They probably won't, because they're going to feed on that bright moon at night. Boy, we got a lot of songbirds here, do we not? But keep this in mind. Those fish are going to feed. It may be a little bit later in the day. So my first Solunar period tomorrow starts about 7:05. I'm going to take advantage of that. I know it's an activity period. I know or hope that sunrise, that low light that happens at like 6:35, will still give me a little bit of grace, and I'll get that dawn bite to last maybe till 8 o'clock or so. So we're gonna go fish top water. We're gonna fish fast moving flukes on the beginning of that incoming. As the day matures, the bite's probably gonna slow down. It probably will, and it's because I've seen this movie so many times, guys. But in the afternoon, when we get the swap in the wind, I already checked the barometer. The barometer's gonna be stable tomorrow. It's not gonna be high. It's not gonna be low. It's gonna be right there around 10, 13 millibars, 1,013 millibars. We will get the fall of the tide, the crest, that's going to happen. So it'll be falling out. I'll get the sea breeze, and I get a major between like 2 o'clock and like 4 o'clock. So I got a 2-hour window. So I'm gonna make sure, if this little songbird here allows me to, I'm gonna make sure that I'm in one of my better outgoing spots for that 2-hour window. So tomorrow with my client, we may have an early bite and we may grind during the day, but that 2 to 4 o'clock window is going to be maybe my best opportunity to get a big fish, because now those fish are hungry again. We're talking, we've got water temperatures here in the Nature Coast Zone that are 80 degrees right now. So those fish have got to feed. And when they get those opportunities, they're gonna take advantage of it. So in short, what I'm telling you is utilize these Solunar windows. Pay attention to them. Try to make them time out when you're in a confident spot where moving water is, but not moving too fast. Tide changes are good. If you pay attention to it, start logging it, you're gonna find out that by leveraging those Solunar windows and fishing hard, if you've got decent stable weather, nothing extremes happening, no crazy barometer, no crazy wind, and you've got a tide change or moving water, you're gonna find out that these are intense bite windows that you should be fishing and not running your boat around wondering what you're gonna do next. Do not waste time there. If you do that, you're gonna catch more. That's what the lesson is today. Now, I'm gonna have to go put gas in the tractor and start mowing and start getting stuff done, because today's Sunday, tomorrow's Monday, and I've only got so much time left. And I don't wanna spend the whole day doing chores. But if you like what you're seeing here on FlatsClass YouTube and you're learning stuff, it's helping you out, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends. Tell everybody that FlatsClass YouTube is here to be your inshore authority. Feel free to ask questions in the comments below. And hopefully I'll get a couple of subscriptions out of this, and a lot of you guys will keep following along. Once we make it to that 50,000 subscriber number, I promise you, we're gonna hire a full-time camera guy, and we're gonna travel to more areas to do these videos. Okay, until next time, Captain CA. I'm not signing off. I'm gonna go run the tractor.